Are you here? Are you here? Gave you guys about a minute to join. And remember, we're on a 15-second delay because I'm coming from a third party. But I'm glad to see that some of you have already joined. You guys are on time. You are excited to learn about the brains of your children from the ages of 5 to 10. This is a crucial time period, the ages of 5 to 10. So I hope that you guys are ready. I've prepared myself. So let's dive into this. So I want to start talking about or reminding you about the brain. So last time we talked about the difference between animals and human beings. One of the main differences is our cerebrum, right? It's a major part of the brain. It's a huge part of our brain as humans. And you have to remember that it's developing in the child. It's heavily developing in the child. So in order to prepare your kids for success in STEM, I feel you have to understand what's going on in your child's brain in the ages of 5 to 10 to get a good understanding of what you should do for those children. So I don't want to belabor that point. So let's get into the emotions of your child. So before we even talk about your child in terms of learning, I want you to understand that your child's brain is highly undeveloped. So if you look at the top area on the right side, that right picture of the brain, you see a lot of red, you see a lot of yellow. It's starting to get a little greenish. So the yellow and the red says very undeveloped. Very undeveloped. And the blue says it's developed. Okay, so never mind that, their emotions are strong. So separation anxiety is real. I think more so from the parents though. The parents have been guiding that child from 0 to 5 years old, and they're about to send them off to kindergarten. And I think a lot of the times we project our fears on our children. Our children have a part of their brain called the amygdala. And the amygdala is the part that says, be afraid, be very afraid. And do you know that the child's amygdala is very undeveloped? I remember one of my cousins jumped from the top of the stairs into my uncle's arms in a dark basement. But she was young and she had no fear. Boys especially, boys have a less developed amygdala than their girl counterparts. So that's why boys at this age are jumping off bunk beds. They think they can fly. They're crazy. Boys are crazy. Why? They don't have that much fear. So truly, sometimes when children get afraid, it may be, the parents projecting their fears onto their children. So relax, parents. I know it's hard to let your child go. Well, I don't know, okay? I don't have any children. So I'll start with that. But I can understand how hard it is to let your child go, but your child is not afraid. Let them go, okay? Another thing about the child's emotions, look at this chart on the left-hand side. You see that? It says male, female, age. You see that? That is talking about testosterone levels. So at the age of 0 to 5 months, look at how high a boy's testosterone levels are. They're very high. But a girl's testosterone levels aren't 20 to 80, right? But look what happens at 6 months to 9 years old. That's what we're talking about today. We're talking about the age range of 5 years to 10. Look how drastically the testosterone levels have dropped. Look at that. They have the same amount of testosterone as girls, sometimes less. So this concept of stop crying, be a man. They're not men. They're not men. They're boys with the testosterone level of little girls. Okay? So Be careful how you deal with your son's emotions. Protect his emotions. Protect his emotions. You'll see that his voice is very high and he's a little sensitive and he's huggy and crying. Don't tell him to be a man. Accept that he has very low testosterone at this time. Protect him. Protect him emotionally. Protect him physically. You know, if you talk to a lot of men today, they were molested at this age range. Protect them. Protect your boys' emotions. Protect your girls' emotions as well, definitely. But understand the testosterone levels that I just showed you. I don't think a lot of people know that boys' testosterone drops significantly in the kindergarten to 5th grade age range, okay? Let's move on to the actual brain. I told you I was going to be talking about the brain. So in terms of the actual brain's development, I told you it's very undeveloped. That's very yellow. When it starts to turn green, it says it's starting to get active. If you remember, we learned about neurogenesis last time, where the cells are rapidly growing. So notice the top of the brain, so the front of the brain is still very yellowish green. So that says they cannot make decisions well. So the top part of the brain, the front part, this part right here, this is where we make our decisions. And it's highly underdeveloped in the child. So we should not put a lot of pressure on them at this age in terms of making decisions. You should not put a lot of pressure on them in terms of making decisions. Also, we need to make decisions for them. They rely on us to make decisions for them. So freedom from K through 5, the concept of their frontal lobe for decision making is highly underdeveloped. And this is a high level place, especially with African Americans, where their fathers leave. The person who makes decisions for them are leaving them. And they feel that now they have to become the man of the house when they don't even have a developed frontal lobe. I'm talking about STEM today. And you wonder how people get successful in STEM. It's more than just reading, writing, and arithmetic. It's the emotions and what's going on in their brain. So don't leave them. Women, don't keep them away from the person that they seek for strong guidance from, male and female. All right, so stop leaving your children, guys. Stop keeping the children away from the father, ladies. All right, so that's the frontal lobe. But not only is the frontal lobe underdeveloped and requiring a parent to really focus on helping them, the left side, you see where it says language, there's wording there it's pointing to, and it has a circle around that area. It is very active. I told you last time, it's beginning to be active. The primary language centers are active. By ages 5 through 10, this is the highest activity of the left side of the brain for language. So this is the time that your children should be learning multiple languages. They should not be in high school. I didn't learn multiple languages till I was in high school. That's too late. My brain, the left side of my brain is way developed by then. You know, you fully develop the brain till about 10 years old. Anytime before that, you can have damage to the left side of that brain, that area, and it will switch over. Neurons will move over to the right side of the brain and develop the language area. So a person who's lost, have damage to their left side, can know how to speak, have a language using their right hemisphere. Pre-10, post-10, too late. If somebody damages the left side of the brain, they won't be able to speak language properly, read or interpret language properly. Okay, like a Japanese kid can pronounce all letters of the alphabet, even in English, but past 11, past 10 years old, they will have an issue pronouncing the letter K. The letter K is not in the Japanese language. So pre-10 years old is the time where we do proper pronunciation of multiple languages. I never forget when I was a kid, my dad ran a preschool, and In the city of New York, there are tons of people from all nations. There was this, Russian parent. I never forget her. She was so worried about her child having the ability to communicate with the kids. My father said, give him a week. Give him a week and he will be fluent in English. And I would see it daily. I would watch kids coming from different parts of the world, not knowing the language. And within 2 weeks, they were speaking fluently. This is the time to teach our kids multiple languages. I really believe we like to focus on people from other countries and saying they're so bright and they're so good with math and science and there's something special. I believe, remember, the left side of the brain, the same area that is important for language, develops mathematical skills. I believe many people who are from other countries that are excellent in STEM is not necessarily just because they practice and do all these things a little later. It is because they're bilingual. So never let anybody tell you don't teach your child multiple languages. It's going to confuse them. That's just a way to make one language superior over the other. Okay? So please teach your children multiple language. Get a Rosetta Stone. Yeah, get a Rosetta Stone and start teaching. You can't teach them. You don't know other languages. Rosetta Stone will be good for that. All right. Not only is language development completed where you can have multiple languages, phonics is important. Word segmentation. All right. When you read words, right? When you see words on a piece of paper, they just look very plain to you. Like, you look at my name and you really can't look at the letters and see what it's saying. But if you pronounce it verbally, you say Maya, right? My name is not Maya. A lot of people call me that. My name is not Maya. My name is Maya, right? The A, there's different types of A's, right? Long sounding A's and short sounding A's. Remember that? We have to really focus on phonics at this time because this is the time for language development. Segment your words. Proper segmentation. We take for granted as adults how we read, but remember at that age they really don't know, and it's the time. When you do that, you're developing the left side of the brain. So remember, you can ask me questions. I hope you're asking me questions. I can't tell if you're asking me questions because I'm not on Facebook. But feel free to ask me questions now, and even send some questions to me. I've had some questions sent to me that I'm going to answer a little later. Yeah. Okay, so hooked on phonics worked for me. That's what they say. Please focus on phonics, all right? So lastly, I told you it's going to be short. I don't want to belabor points, and I'll leave room for questions. But they're never too young. They're never too young. You think, oh, they're just 4, they're just 5, they're just 6. Stop that mindset. They're sponges. They are sponges. Teach them as. You say, oh, I want to learn a new language at 20 years old. It's too late. Use Rosetta Stone on your children. All right? They're never too young. You just don't want to put pressure on them as they learn. Because remember, their frontal lobe is not developed. The frontal lobe is not developed very well. So when they feel that they got to make large decisions on learning, they get frustrated. They get scared. They get frustrated. But if you just give them the information with calmness and peace and love and joy, man, they will suck the information. This is the highest level of learning. Kids love to learn at this age range. When it gets a little older when they get a little older and the hormones come back and puberty comes back, then they start getting distracted. That's what I'm going to talk about next time. Right? Middle school is no joke. But in early childhood, they are excited. They love this stuff. So please make it enjoyable. When I was a kid, my grandmother taught me how to grow plants. She helped me put a kidney bean in there. She told me, take the darkest soil. And I would just, every day, just stare at the cup. It was like a foam cup or something. And I would just keep staring at the cup. I can't wait and I would see it pop out. And oh my God, it's coming out. Every single day. And I would do it multiple times. I would just put kidney beans in dirt. over a long period, even when she was sick and dying of breast cancer, just to feel close to her, I would just go get a kidney bean and put it in dirt. It's, I just loved that stuff. Photosynthesis, I told you in the past, was my first word. My first scientific word was photosynthesis. I love dinosaurs. I went to museums. When I'm from New York, they have the the Museum of Natural History. We would always go to these kind of places, museums, and just aquariums. Take them to places that are fun. Do not torture them now. It's the worst time to torture kids in regards to math or science. And unfortunately, we punish our children when they don't know their times tables. We hit them. We call them stupid. We call them dunce. And a lot of the times they're emotional about it. And they shut down with math and science because you did not make it enjoyable at this time. The hard, challenging part of science needs to happen a way later. Right now, it needs to all be about fun. It has to all be about fun. So I hope, at 17 minutes, good. I think I spent a good time talking to you about early childhood. Let me see if I missed anything that I wanted to say. Yep, I covered everything. So I'm going to look out for some questions now. Actually, before I do that, I'm going to be at Patmos Chapel, Seventh-day Adventist Church on this Wednesday. I'm going to have a booth for Encounter. It's our research fair all month. We celebrate Christmas in July. So we're going to have all these resources for people at our church, and I will be there. I'll have microscopes with cells and models of cells and real cells. It's going to be a good time. Any questions? All right, I see lots of questions here. Thank you all for joining. Wow, lots of people joined today. Not much questions. Okay. A child with the Corpus Callosum issues. So I'll show you what the Corpus Callosum is. Let's see if I remember what slide. Okay, so here is, I don't have a cursor, unfortunately, but if you look at this picture, you'll see 3 pictures. You see a brain with a cross section. This is a brain frontal section. That's what I'm looking at right now. That's your cerebrum cut in half. And you see that white area? That white area is called the corpus callosum. Your brain has 2 hemispheres. So this is one hemisphere here. This is the other hemisphere there. You see that? I can't do that, but there's a white area that goes like this, like a smiley face. That is the corpus callosum. And that's a very important highway. It's built with axons. If you know what an axon is like, imagine our brain cells. Remember telephone, where we had when we were kids, we had the can and then a long string, right? And we would speak into the can and then the long string, and somebody else would listen, you would hear the other side. Well, that string are axons. It's basically sending the sound or message, whatever, from one area to the other. And so the corpus callosum is important in that it helps the left hemisphere communicate with the right hemisphere. And so when there's issues with the corpus callosum, the brain has issues connecting with itself. So that's important to understand. When we say we have some children with issues with their brain, when they have issues with cognitive thoughts, really processing information, you can't get frustrated with them because they have a damaged corpus callosum. Knowing that will help you be a little bit more patient with people with that issue. Or a lot of the times it helps control bodily functions. you know. So if your sons are bedwetting themselves quite a bit, you have to be patient because they have a damaged corpus callosum. So I think with learning about your child's brain and working with them, still teach them, but teach them with patience. Still love them with patience, knowing the issue that happened. That's what so now I hope I explained what's the issue there. Okay. I got another question. Okay, it says, I heard about testosterone, how it affects ambition, sex drives, energy, the link to max gender identity. So how I can see the high voice and emotions, etc., but how do we explain their high levels of competition or energy, knowing that, and the fact that they are boys? Okay, so they're still boys, yet they have low testosterone. So just to remind you about the concept of testosterone levels. They're still boys, right? And they still can be rambunctious. So doesn't testosterone lead to their rambunctiousness? And if it's low, then what's leading to the rambunctiousness and all this amounts of energy? I don't know for sure, 100%. My friend Damaris is here. I see she's a gynecologist, so she may help me too. I don't know. But remember, it's not, I told you the amygdala is underdeveloped in boys. So there's more to, they have higher amounts of muscle mass than boys, right? So they have more muscle than girls. They have more mitochondria that gives power to their muscle than girls. So their testosterone levels may be low, but they still have the energy of boys. So that's why they might, and the amygdala lower levels of boys. So I never want to say, that, there's one thing that causes one thing, right? Testosterone is very important in a lot of things. And all I want you to focus on is as the fact that it has dropped significantly and to notice that. But other things may lead to energy. Levels of muscle mass, which with male children has more of, levels of mitochondria in the muscle, because, that can be, I'm not going to say it is, I never say anything is, but that can be the answer to your question about they have a lot of energy, yet they've lost their testosterone. Okay, let's see. So would a STEM system work for someone with trouble? To your question about, I want you to understand, STEM system is not, there's no such thing as a STEM system. STEM stands for science, technology, engineering, and math. So it's not a system. It's basically, do you want your kid to be involved in science, right? Do you want them to be a scientist, or do you want them to have a science background? Like most medical doctors have a high level of science background. Most nurses, science background. So the fields that you want to push your children in, it's their choice to be in. But let's say you want to prepare them for the wave of the future. And the wave of the future, the things that are not outsourceable are, science dependent fields, technology dependent fields, engineering fields. But it's not really a STEM system. But I'm trying to teach you, what do you have to do with your child at the different levels of their growth to prepare them to be in STEM? It's not really a STEM system, if I'm clear. So knowing that your child has disabilities, I feel like you may have to still teach them how to read, still read to them, still work with neurogenesis. Because remember, neurogenesis is the process of the cells themselves growing. The corpus callosum is an issue with communication. So you can grow their brain as much as possible by reading to them, by speaking languages, by, making things fun, do good things with them. with the understanding that they have a disability, you know? So don't push them, don't pressure them. But yeah, I feel a STEM system will work for any child. It will grow them personally, even if they never decide to be in the field of science. I think knowing the way your child's brain works will help in all fields. Okay, so I think you want to be understanding. I hope I understand. I hope I answered questions. Thank you, Damaris. I feel, listen, I for you to say you love this, I'm touched. I love to help my friends out. I'm excited about what our kids can do. I just think our parents need some more information, and I just want you guys to share this as much as you can. Remember, like my page, Phenomenal STEMist on Facebook. I think I'm going to build my Twitter page as well. Change my Twitter page as well to Phenomenal STEMist. I want you to share this. Especially amongst minority students, it's my passion to make sure that my students are prepared when they come to me in the fall. And it doesn't begin in high school. It doesn't even begin in middle. It begins from the womb. So whatever I can do to help prepare these kids to come see me in college so that they can pass my class, I'll do whatever it takes. Any more questions? Let's see if there are any more questions. Yep, no more questions. Thank you guys for joining. Have a good day. Remember, if you feel like setting questions beforehand, do so, and then I'll answer in the other videos.